Welcome back to the big question. Our guest tonight, I'll start on my right, Thomas Letangule, Commissioner with the IEBC. Thank you for making time for the big question. Johnson Sakaja-nominated MP, and Jakoyo Midiwo, who's the game MP, but also the Deputy Minority Leader in the National Assembly. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time for the big question. I'll start with the latest here. Dennis Onyango, who's Raila Odinga's spokesman, saying about this. Okoa Kenya referendum bid has not collapsed. The country has only heard from the Jubilee wing of the divide called IEBC. Okoa Kenya movement has not spoken. You cannot stop a vehicle you are not driving. And I'll start by asking the Honorable Jakoyo Midiwo. Already, of course, we've heard you say that IEBC and Jubilee were conspiring before this decision today by the IEBC. But what is your reaction to this, first of all?
Quite frankly, I am not surprised. I kind of saw IEBC dragging its feet. Of course, when my colleague Sakaja and Duale led a small team of Jubilee to a press conference within the precincts of Parliament last week and started talking about signatures being fake, even this morning I said there is more than met the eye. And of course, for IEBC to hold the signatures for since November, and then to drop it up in the backdrop of that pronouncement from leadership of Jubilee, I think only a fool cannot tell the connection.
Right. Was IEBC under any pressure or influence from government or Jubilee, as is being claimed?
No, IEBC is not under the direction of any person or body. Under the law, and in fact, IEBC is not being directed by any person. We operate within the law. So when I hear Mheshimiwa here saying he's not surprised because he expects us to work with government, it is surprising to us because we don't even talk to any of the parties in that sense in the performance of our work. We operate purely within the law. And I will demonstrate to you how we arrive at this decision today.
Yeah, and I'll come to that. But first of all, does this mean the Okoa Kenya initiative has collapsed? That is it?
Yeah, I mean, as far as this referendum initiative is concerned with us, we made a decision, and the decision is that they did not meet the threshold. And
now that means even if they go out and get more signatures, it can't work. You have to start. If you want to proceed, you'll have to start the whole process again.
Exactly, because this first initiative has collapsed because it didn't reach the threshold.
Okay.
Yes.
So very briefly, then, what were the anomalies that IEBC discovered there?
First, let me address the issue of the delay. There was no deliberate delay on our part as IEBC to drag on the matter. It is indeed true that we received the booklets in November. However, we received the booklets in hard copies, 217 booklets.
Yes.
217 booklets. We didn't have the budget because we expected to receive soft copies of the same. Now, until this year, February, we received funding from Treasury. We couldn't do much then because we didn't have the funding for this. Therefore, we started the recruiting temporary clerks who started this work in February. Now, with 100 people working on this document, putting them manually into the system, it took them about 30 days. And that's why we now got the actual data submitted to us of 1,600,000 entries. So the delay was really more of the funding and the issue of the hard copies which they submitted.
Right, but was there an undertaking in February by the IEBC to the CORD team that by March 1st, they will come back with an answer on this?
Yes, we expected to get funding earlier, but there was a delay.
But there was no communication from IEBC to CORD then, isn't it? Until, well, and to even change the date, until CORD had to go to IEBC like we saw last week and try and get information.
You know, we have been working, and they know it. I mean, our people, we form a project team on this matter. A complete project team with staff on it and the temporary staff working on it for the last 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you and Honorable Midiwo will also come back to you to tell us what proof you have, because you're saying CORD and IEBC and Jubilee are working together. You have to substantiate that and tell us what proof do you have. I'll read a text here to introduce Honorable Sakaja. Arnold says, how did Jubilee come to know the anomaly before even IEBC announced the outcome? This openly shows IEBC is not independent. We saw you talked last week.
Oh yes, and I'm very glad we spoke. You covered us speaking, and if you listen to us, what we raised are pertinent issues that must still be raised now. We raised issues on the process that is being taken, and we asked a very simple question, because in our thinking, IEBC was supposed to verify signatures. The law provides that you need to have 1 million people supporting. Those 1 million people must be registered voters, and how do they show that they're supporting your referendum bid? By signing. Now IEBC had been purporting to be verifying signatures, yet they don't have any repository of signatures. Today, Hussein, if I tell you I'm verifying your signature and I don't even know how you sign, and yet you're not telling people the process you're undertaking. So I think first of all, CORD should have listened to us very clearly. The issue of fake signatures, and even if that was raised, we said we have reasons to believe that some of these signatures could be fake. In IEBC's report, they're not talking about any fake signatures. They're talking about double entries on IDs. They're talking about names missing. So
at no point are you talking about fake signatures. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the report we've seen. Let me just finish. We're not even talking about what we raised, so there's no connection, and we have no reason to side with IEBC. But if you listen to us, and the reason we're raising questions is that we're extremely disappointed with the manner in which the IEBC has conducted this process. And in fact, CORD should have been supporting us with the questions we're asking. We're asking, what is taking you 6 months? What process are you undertaking? Why is this process shrouded in secrecy? Why are you not communicating? You're saying that CORD presented the documents in hard copy. Why didn't you provide regulations saying that if you're going to have a referendum, provide these signatures or entries in soft copy? IEBC has known all along that there's a possibility of there being a referendum. They can say, yes, we don't have a referendum law. But why haven't they been able to produce regulations? You know, because you cannot, and Kenyans must be very keen on this. We are concerned about the integrity of the processes that IEBC conducts, because especially if you intend to win, you want your victory to be credible and believable. But if IEBC has been conducting itself in a manner that raises suspicions even from us, CORD just responded because it's the and Sakaja, they're opposing what we're saying. So we asked a question. What process are you undertaking to verify these signatures without any sample signature of the people? They still haven't answered it. So even when they say 800,000 of those are correct, we're questioning the 800,000, and it is possible even those that they rejected are correct. What was so hard for the IEBC to publish all these names when CORD took them on the papers for Kenyans to verify? Number two, what was so difficult for the IEBC? What prevented you throughout this process to have observers? Observers from CORD, observers from
Let him respond.
I will check on that, Hussein. You see, the difficult problem we have in this country is that we as IEBC, we have become a punching bag from these politicians, from both sides of the divide. I mean, it's time we have to have at least some sort of respect with this institution. We're being bashed for nothing, for doing our work. And every time somebody sees that IEBC is doing the right thing this way, they blame it. Now let me come to your question. The thing is, we have been on this job. I mean, we've been running a number of programs. We've been on the registration of voters. We have been doing a lot of work. Now, when we got funding for this, we started work clearly as per our mandate. And under Article 257(4), our duty was to verify. Actually, the thing is, and Honorable Midiwo, you know this, the thing is that our duty was to receive that the wording of the Constitution is at least 1 million voters. And IEBC shall verify. The word is shall. Now, what is verify? Verify is to make sure it's correct. It is accurate. Those are the words. So what we have been doing is to ensure the accuracy of the data. So once we have the data in soft copy, then the first thing we do is eliminate those names presented to us without ID numbers. They cannot be eligible. We eliminate those that have some errors. We eliminate everything that cannot be taken as a correct data. So when we ran this thing to the soft copy through our data, we found out that they could not reach the 1 million, and that's how we found the 891,000.
It's interesting, first of all, to address the issue of the time from November to the 22nd of March. Remember the CEO, not the CEO, but the chairman of IEBC carelessly said one day that they are not time-bound on how long to do this thing. He said, I saw him on TV.
Which constitutionally is true, isn't it?
No,
not really bound.
It's not true. You know, the Constitution, the thinking behind the Constitution, that said once it is sent to the assemblies, it would take a maximum of 90 days.
Yes.
Was because everybody assumed that the politicians, the political institutions would be mischievous to deny the people a right to exercise their popular mandate. Some of the things, even on this Okoa Kenya thing, is supposed to change a lot of political things. Nobody envisaged that an independent body would collude with one or two political bodies to deny the people that right. Let me just say, having said that, you know, IEBC doesn't have the right, without explaining to Kenyans, without even giving regulations on how the signatures or the documents were supposed to get to them, to deny, to say it has flopped. They have said they don't have a law guiding. But remember, before the bill was published, we went and met IEBC. It is not that we are putting pressure after the submission. We went, and they should have said at that point, we need a soft copy. They never did. So how then do you verify a signature? And how would somebody in Moyale, how would you convert their signature into a soft copy?
We'll come to that so that he responds. But why do you keep saying, and you've even said it now, IEBC is colluding with a party or two? Why would you say that? And what proof do you have of that?
I can, really, it's simple. When the leader of majority, out of nowhere, something that does not really concern him, go out there and say Okoa Kenya signatures are fake. What more proof do you need? What more proof in politics?
But you know, he was there, and he
even said it yesterday. He said that the signatures, that roll had fake signatures, and so just a few hours later, IEBC obliges and says that some were submitted without, because of the controversy, beyond, after what happened in the hands of an electoral body in 2007, there needs to be care. And Commissioner Letangule is saying we don't respect them. What work are they doing in this country that deserves respect? Really, everything.
That is after this, or you're talking generally?
I'm talking generally. I have participated in a few elections in the last 15 years, and there's nothing that I see.
I'll let him respond. Let me Sakaja will respond. But this question that is being asked first, was it right? He's saying this didn't concern you when you were talking about this. And number two, when you're saying some of these signatures were fake, and some of the questions Kenyans are asking is, did you have access to these documents? How did you know these signatures are fake?
Let me say this. First of all, on the assertion that this did not concern us, nothing could be more ridiculous than that. We're players in the political process. Any Kenyan, first of all, has a right to question any institution in this country, anybody. This insinuation that Jubilee should never talk about the IEBC is leading us to a very precarious situation. Because what we've seen is that we have an electoral management body called the IEBC that time and time again will always pander to the whims of the opposition, because it's the opposition that keeps putting them on check. The questions we raised were very clear. There were questions on process. Questions which still have not been answered. How do they verify?
And he'll respond. But my question is, you talked about fake signatures. The question is, how did you know there were fake signatures? In that list.
Could you play the interview we did? We said that we have reasons to believe that some of those signatures are fake.
And the same thing.
For a number of reasons. One of the reasons we have to believe, and Jakoyo will confirm for you, is many of our colleagues in Parliament from ODM kept telling us that the books that they had were not filled. Some of them were still in the office. But besides that, even if we spoke about the possibility of fake signatures, IEBC has not responded on signatures. Even by denying the referendum, they have not raised any question on signatures, which raises a more fundamental issue. And it's good to question processes. When the Constitution says that you will verify that you have 1 million people supporting a referendum, does it mean you only take to them names and IDs of people supporting you? Don't you need to look at the signatures?
Right. Because
every political party, and this is a very important point, every political party in this country, even Sisi Kwasisi and everyone, has a copy of the entire voters register. If you don't put in processes and systems, what prevents tomorrow a group of people sitting down with the voters register in a room and getting people to just put it in a different format? Because you're not looking at signatures and presenting to IEBC.
I want him to respond to that, but this thing was given to the IEBC in November 2015, isn't it? Why did you speak last week?
We spoke last week because that is when the political pressure had been mounted by court itself. And we said, first of all, our question was, we were not even addressing court. We're taking IEBC.
All those issues.
Where's IEBC? You're taking 6 months to verify. Why are you not telling Kenyans what process you're taking to verify? What is this verification you're doing? Why do you conduct processes shrouded in secrecy? And for the stability of this country, you're saying we need to have an IEBC that is trusted, credible, and open.
So you're saying that happened after court-raised issues? That is only at the time you decided to talk about it.
Of course, court-raised questions asking why are signatures taking too long? And we thought, actually, why are they taking too long? IEBC is saying they have no law. IEBC knew from the time they came into being that there's a possibility of having a referendum in this country. Is there a draft bill presented in Parliament on how to conduct a referendum? Is there any, Jakoyo? I don't know if you've seen.
As you respond, how exactly are the signatures verification done? I mean, there's no database of voter signatures.
You don't know my signature. How do you verify my signature?
How is that done?
All right, fine. The first thing is to say we have no control over what politicians talk and their timing.
But you also must answer politicians' oversight, the IEBC.
Of course, we have no control when they talk. What I know is that I heard the other side, the Jubilee side, say you publish the signatures.
Yes,
they said publish it in the newspaper.
Even on your website.
But we felt they cannot direct us to do that, and we refused to do that because we are doing our work. So whereas we don't succumb to any pressure from either court or from Jubilee, and we refuse to listen to what Jubilee also said, because they were putting pressure through what we were hearing, that you publish the signatures. Now, the law as it is under Article 156(7) is true that we don't have the other framework, an act of parliament regulating the referendum. And we don't have regulation. So what we're working on, just like we did in Makueni, is that we follow what the Constitution says under Article 157(4), which is, our role is clear, verify. Now you ask me, how do you verify? And I have already defined what is verify. So the first thing we did was form the team which now does this verification. And it took long because, 217 booklets, converting them into putting the data manually. You can agree with me, it takes time. And the other thing is that we never received funding much earlier. So we started work a bit late in the day. Now, having said that, it took us 1 month, by the way, to enter the data into now what we have. So the first thing we did was to verify, not the signatures, not going and checking your signatures, as Honorable Sakaja is saying. We first of all look at, we say, how many entries don't have a signature in the first place. So we found 84,000 don't have signatures, they're just names. So we said eliminate that one. Then we said how many of this data have names with no ID or passport number. We found out again another about over 100. We eliminated. Then we said how many of these, then we ran now we ran the data we have with our register. So we found out many of them are duplicated again. So we removed them. So by the time we did these counter checks, which is a normal process, we now found out that only 891,000 qualified legally to be now checked the signatures.
So you're saying that out of those 891,000, you didn't verify signatures?
Now what we did, I mean, by that time, the threshold has not been met.
So even those,
there could be a possibility. But what I'm trying to tell you, Honorable, what I'm trying to say, when you say verify, it doesn't just mean goes directly and checks signatures. No. It means what the process now I'm telling you.
But the process
so it didn't matter then. You're saying now that you found it's only 890. So it didn't matter whether these signatures are actually
we didn't go there. We didn't go there because once the threshold has not been met, we didn't go there. And we were even grappling how to go about again.
So then why are you saying 891 are qualified if you didn't
so is there a possibility of 91,000 that some could be fixed?
You see, Hussein, can I just engage Commissioner for a second?
Yes, please.
Where do the document to cross-check the 891,000 or the 1.6 million reside? Where is it in IVID? Is it in Green Book? Is it?
You know, we
have to give this information. I'm about to tell you something.
You know, Mheshimiwa, we have your 217 booklets.
Yeah.
These are the same booklets we used actually, and we had a lot of difficulty. One of the delays was that some of them were handwritten, some were torn, some could not be read illegibly, you know, all those problems. So we used the same booklets to translate them into soft copy. Now, with the soft copy, we are able to check how many entries in your booklets don't have signatures. We counter-checked, and we found out a number of them did not have signatures. How many of your entries don't have ID or passport number? And based on that, we eliminated them. And you will agree with me.
That you have said.
Yeah.
My question.
Yes.
You have the IVID.
Yes.
Which is the
BVR register.
The BVR register.
Yeah.
Itself.
Yeah.
Which has the quantum of the people who registered.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you have such a thing as the Green Book?
There is you can call it the Green Book. You know, the register must have a duplicate copy, which is in hard copy. But the register is in soft copy. And that is the register we run what you gave us against.
Is it true?
Yes.
That when you verified the 891, you found them in the IVID, and you concluded they were okay without looking at the signatures.
Yeah.
But is it true that you also made a decision that there's another 140,000 which was in the Green Book, which you did not, you refused to, you ruled out?
Now, you see,
I will prove it.
You see, this is now,
I just don't
as much more as examining me here.
Exactly.
I think, like you know so much about, in fact, I haven't heard anything about the 141 you are telling me.
Yeah, so where are you getting that?
I don't know where you get that.
So you're going with more information.
Where are you getting that?
They have announced, they have made an announcement which gets rid of nearly 700,000 votes.
Yes.
I would be foolish in my position not to try to find out how that process occurred, because he's not telling us. Mheshimiwa has asked him.
You've talked about a specific number of 140,000.
140,000
which
votes.
have no idea.
Yes, but I am telling you, because you know this Green Book and the contrast of it with the IVID was a very big case, even as we verified the voter numbers in the Supreme Court. It is interesting that the commissioner would say he has no idea. That means, you know the other thing which they have said is that they went and hired temporary staff from the streets to make this decision.
So if you're not going to say, about this 140,000, it's almost like an accusation you've made.
We have called a press conference tomorrow.
So what are you saying?
At 11.
I mean, it's only what you're saying.
What I'm saying, you asked me to prove a point.
Yes.
When Sakaja and Dole spoke,
yes,
they were spreading a bed for IEBC to lie on. And they have come home to lie on that bed. And I can tell you, they had to do something. And it's not the first time we are accusing IEBC for doing something arbitrary. It is not. But we have scheduled a press conference tomorrow at 11 at the Serena.
I think also you must listen to me.
That IEBC,
all I'm saying,
is not an innocent player in this thing, and we cannot give them that chance. We will.
You see, Mheshimiwa, when you say we hire people from the street, that is wrong, because you know we had to hire temporary staff, just like we hired temporary staff for the current mass registration. Now, those staff are working under the direct supervision of our staff, of our other staff. So they are not people just speak from the street.
Okay, let's because
you know, this discussion will go nowhere.
There's an accusation here that has been made.
First of all, there's an accusation that clearly shows. You know, they're accusing us of having insider information. We said you have reason to believe some of these signatures could be fake. He's talking about specifics, 140,000. None of us has heard, even the commissioner. But anyway, that's besides the point. I think the first thing that Code can see is that what we were asking for was first in their own best interests.
No.
For these names to be published, so that when IEBC says there are double entries, you can see for yourselves those double entries. IEBC should not operate in a manner that is shrouded with secrecy. That is what you're saying. Now, a referendum is a very important process, Honorable Jakoyo, my good friend. And Code has all the right to pursue a referendum. In fact, anyone, there's Okoa Kenya, there's Punguza, what is it? Punguza Mzigo, Punda Mechoka, Boresha, etc. But our main concern and gripe is this: that these issues that you're trying to resolve here should not be issues of conjecture, should not be issues that are subjective, that we should actually have appropriate legal provisions providing for how to operationalize such an important exercise that would likely cost Kenyans, you know, billions. First of all, IEBC should allow, I mean, honestly, I think you should allow Code to add the other 100,000 signatures, you know, in my opinion, because they have a right in the law to pursue the process. But, you know, Jakoyo, what we are talking about is simple. We cannot have an electoral management body, IEBC, that also appears to be groping in the dark on a matter so important as a referendum. Since 2013, the new, because Code started talking about referendum 2013, we have not seen any draft regulations on referendum. We have not seen any draft bill on a referendum. We have not seen any provision for them to tell. You know, you can't say that Code brought these things in hard copy, so it took us 2 months. Let me finish. You cannot say Code brought these things in hard copy, so it took us 2 months. Did you ask them to bring it in soft copy?
Yes, you know, saying.
Had you asked them?
Yes. Of course, when they came, when they presented,
when they came.
Yes,
did you accept?
And we told them, look here, we need soft copies, and they promised us that within about 2 hours we'll come with it. They never came with it, and they know they gave us the hard copies.
No.
They know.
For the sake of this country, we need more predictable.
And even when we listen,
that are governed by law, not
when
by
we had the next meeting with them, when they came to our offices, the question, and we briefed them that we could not proceed faster because you gave us hard copies. But IEBC never complained. What IEBC did is work within what we have, and that is exactly what we have done. The point is this, and let me close this by saying, the law says at least 1 million registered voters. We had to do verification as per the law. They could not reach that because we eliminated, because it's our duty to verify. Now, we cannot help a party reach what they cannot get legally.
No, but you know, Hussein.
Do they have a point? Okay, both of you, it's a yes and no answer. Do they have a point?
No, they don't.
Let me just finish. As an independent commission, do you believe what they've done is right? As an independent commission, and they have the powers as an independent commission.
You see, because Code has been talking about, and that one thing I'm not responding to this colluding. It's become a monotonous chorus. IEBC is jubilee. So I'm not even responding to that. The point is this. The IEBC itself is a referee. The IEBC must be independent and must show itself as a strong referee by establishing the rules. On this one, I think IEBC has dropped the ball. That is what we're asking for. Set rules well in advance, so that, you know, because you keep saying that you're looking at names and ideas. Anybody can bring you 1 million names. In fact, I'm surprised Code, you're the voter register of 6 million. I'm surprised you guys couldn't come up with 1 million names.
You know, and the commissioner is my friend. You know, there's so much accusations against the commission, and everywhere we have accused them has got to do with some failed system, particularly computers, human error and all that.
But they've also been congratulated by both coalitions before.
Oh, there's what they've done well.
Especially in some of the by-elections. Ruling on Letangule recently.
Why would they be congratulated in the ruling?
Facts are facts. Facts are facts.
That was just,
it's because you're saying you have been against they've always been failing all the time, and you've been telling them all the time. But there are instances where we've seen both coalitions congratulate the IEBC, and that is why he's also talking about
them being the investment this country has put in the electoral process. Even if you take from 2007, you should not be hearing this. the amount of money invested in machines. We cannot be even sitting here talking about some green book which is manual and some and the EVID system, which is, you know, somebody is spending public money.
In everything they've raised, and in terms of communication, do you think you failed in anything, or do you think you should have handled this differently?
No, you know,
everything should have been.
You know, Hussein, Mheshimiwa here is contradicting himself. He's talking about manual when they present manual, you know, data. And yet they knew that this is a requirement. Now, we've done our best. That's all I can say.
So you don't regret anything? Should it have been done in any different way?
Yeah, we don't. We regret the delay, and I have explained the reason for the delay.
Okay.
But the other thing also I must say is that when Sakaja talks about IEBC not doing the law, they know these are their parliamentarians. They ought to have addressed the issue of referendum earlier. Prior. Okay. So we only
Thomas Letangule, Commissioner IEBC, Johnson Sakaja, you have to wind up because of time, and Jakoyo Midiwo, Deputy Minority Leader in the National Assembly. Thank you so much for making time for the big question. Of course, this conversation goes on. Keep talking to us on #242 on Twitter using the hashtag The Big Question. We'll be back after this break.